What's up, people of the internet? Mike Dawg Digital here, and today I'm going to show you the basics of Photoshop. Let's get started here. You're not going to see any of this stuff because these are my projects that I've recently been working on. So let's go to new. Let's say 1000 by 1000 pixels. That looks good. And we're going to make it 72 ppi and RGB, which is perfect for screens. Now, here's the Photoshop interface. This area is the canvas. This is where all your work is going to go. Over here, we have the toolbar. These are various tools that are going to help you edit your images and make them look nice and cool. Up here, we have another little panel where you can adjust your alignment and set your positions in the transform tool. And over here, we have another little tool panel. And this is where you're going to adjust your type and property values like color and stuff. And this is the creme de la creme of Photoshop. This is the layers panel, and this is where all of the magic happens. First things first, I'm going to unlock this background layer by simply clicking it. When you open a new document in Photoshop, it's always going to have the first layer locked. So I go ahead and unlock it at the beginning. And we can name this. We'll name it background. And now I'm going to use the paint bucket tool, which is G, and I already have a color here. I'm just going to use this color. Now we've painted the background this dull teal color, right? Now I'm going to press V, which is the move tool, and it is very important to always have auto select checked and show transform controls checked. This is going to make your life more convenient later on. Now I'm going to create a new layer real fast. You can do that by going to your layers panel and clicking this thing, which is create a new layer. This will create a new layer, or you can press Command Shift N, and I'm going to do it this way and name it brush strokes. Now I'm going to press B. This is the brush tool, and I'm going to just draw something real fast. Actually, I'm going to change the color before I draw something. Hadoop. And this is how you draw in Photoshop. If you would like to adjust the size of your brush, you simply use the bracket keys. If you hold Shift and use the bracket keys, you make your brush softer or harder. Now if you press U, you'll bring up the shape tool, and this will be the rectangle tool when you first use it. Just going to draw a rectangle and make it a different color. And when you draw a new shape, you will automatically create a layer. I'm going to draw another rectangle real fast. And I'm going to draw a perfect square by holding Shift. First I'm going to click and drag, and then I'm going to hold Shift. Because if you hold Shift before you click and drag, it's going to draw that shape on the same layer as the other rectangle. Okay, I'm just going to move these around. There we go. Now let's say you want to add a gradient to your shape. You would simply select the layer that you'd like to add the gradient to. Layer style, gradient overlay. I'm just going to leave it the same right now, but you can play around with these settings, and I encourage you to. Also, let's say we want these squares to have drop shadows. You would go to layer style, drop shadow. I'm just going to leave this the same as well. And I encourage you to play around with all of these different layer styles because they have some pretty amazing abilities in Photoshop. And there we go, now we all have drop shadows. Now let's say I want to add some text to this file. I just press T, that's the type tool. And there we go. And once you have typed what you like to type, press Escape, and you'll go back to where you can press V and have the Move tool. If you would like to resize your text, you'd simply click on it, hold Shift, click again, and now click and drag. And then press Enter once you have adjusted it the way you like. Now if I go to my characters panel over here, I can actually play around with the text. And you can also set tracking, kerning, and leading right here. I'm just going to make the tracking a little bit more. not much. And I'll scale that down a little bit. And there we go. Now, one of the great things about Photoshop is its blending modes, which are right here. As you can see right now, it's just normal. And we have all of these options, and you can go through and click on them if you'd like and see what all they do. But an easier way is to hold Shift and just press plus or minus, and you can sift through your blending modes. Also, if you'd like to adjust the opacity of a layer, you can go over here to the opacity panel, and you can toggle this little slider and make the opacity go down or up, however you'd like. Or you can simply select a layer and press any number on the keyboard, and it will give you a percentage of the opacity. So 1 is 10%, 2 is 20, and so on until you get to 0, which is 100%. If you press C, you will activate the crop tool, and this is handy if you need to resize your canvas. So if I'm doing a website layout, I usually have to use this tool a lot because I have to make the canvas longer. So you can just drag down and press enter, and now your canvas is automatically longer. One more little thing in Photoshop is the Marquee Tool. I'm going to select the brushes layer, and I'm going to press M, so bring up the Marquee Tool. And I'm going to select part of the brushes here, and I'm just going to hit the V key, and now I can move this around, or I could actually delete it. But whatever you have marqueed, it is important to know that after you are done altering it, you press Command D to deselect it. So that's pretty much the basics of Photoshop. I hope this was helpful. Give me a like if you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment, let me know how I did. Also, if you have any more questions about Photoshop, leave that in the comments as well. And subscribe for more tutorials. Dawg out.